Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Dr. Rashida L. Weaver, and this is the Social Entrepreneurship Show. So in this episode, I'll be talking about how oversharing hurts success, in particular in regards to social entrepreneurs. But let's get started. So, what is oversharing? Mind you, I had this urge and inspiration to talk about this topic. Um, Slightly due to some recent events. But like it's also something that I've been working on, right? So all year I've been practicing sharing less, and I've done a really good job of that. Can't believe how much of a good job I've done of it. Because I just learned that as you grow up, you shut up. As you grow up, you shut up. You do not cast your pearls before swine, as it says in the Bible. And I think it's so incredibly important that in 2025 and beyond, like we are living in a time where there's so much oversharing online, and I'm so guilty of it at times, less now, but and people have been saying that to me. They're like, oh, you're not share a lot of your personal life online and stuff. I'm like, no, I don't, because I want to protect it. And I've learned that that it's important to, and that I need to, especially as I've become more successful. I've noticed that the more success I get, the more private I become. When I was on my journey, like in college and graduate school, I shared so much, and I had a positive and warm like feedback, and that's so beautiful. But I over the years, I just felt like I was letting way too many people into my life. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I just felt like it was like in so many different ways, not just oversharing online, but like even oversharing, just opening my heart and my home and my family and my friends, like up to everyone, because I was just so open. But that also has to do with how I was raised. I feel like I was raised in three different homes. My parents have been together for over 40 years. They're married. And but when they came to this country, they made a pact with both with two of their siblings, my dad's sister and my mom's sister, that we would raise our families together. And so I have a huge family. I have over 80 cousins. And so I grew up sharing a lot with my family, but like I had friends, but I saw them at school. And maybe I saw them a couple of times on my block. But for the most part, I just Monday through Friday, I'm in the Bronx growing up. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going, Friday night, I'm going to Brooklyn. Like I take my things with me to school. I go to Brooklyn and see my cousins over there. And then any kind of holiday, extended break, I'm in Queens visiting my other aunt. And so my family's super t close and tight knit. Like I was raised with a true village. And so I think I grew up just naturally just oversharing everything because we were all just taking care of each other. And I didn't realize it as I was getting older, as I was just like doing it with everybody. Like when became 18, 19, and I started getting out into the world, I just wanted to share love and share community. I was like so naive to the fact that the world wasn't this peaceful place. And that goes to good parenting, because my parents, they've done a really amazing job, of our life wasn't perfect. But we never wanted for anything, and we really did not understand the dangers of the world, to be really honest. And I think also going into academia, it's such a protected and so an exclusive space. And I feel like that further added to that. And even getting married and marrying a man that was very hell-bent on protecting me and providing and all of that, I did not always realize the importance of moving in silence, which I do now. And so let's talk about it. All right. Oversharing is the act of sharing too much personal information that is considered inappropriate for a specific relationship or situation. It can happen both online and offline, and often involves crossing social and personal boundaries by revealing details that are too intimate, frequent, or excessive for the context. Recently, someone overshared something to me about some other people that are famous and wealthy, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, this person," all these things, and I was just like, but the thing is, I have proximity to those people, and like if I had just met them, I may not have known. And it was fine. Like I'm a safe person. Like I'm not gonna go up to them and say anything. I don't care. Like I care more about your character than anything else because you could be an amazing person that is wealthy and rich and everything and famous. But if your character is bad, I don't want you around me because I'm gonna need you to have some good character and be a safe person to speak to and to be around. Okay? So I won't go bothering anybody. But some other people might. Like if you tell that to the information to the wrong person, you never know what can happen, right? And so, key aspects of oversharing include, oh, yeah, I'm getting this like definitions from Google, by the way, because I needed to educate myself on this topic. All right, excessive disclosure, sharing more information than is necessary or comfortable for others to hear. So, reading other people is so incredibly important, and like seeing, like, as I'm speaking to this person, like, do they seem like they're like kind of cringing? Do they want to hear this information? And also being able to communicate when you don't. Like I finally um, summoned the strength and courage to like really let people know when I don't want them to overshare with me about certain things. I was good at that in some areas in life before, but recently, like this year in particular, I just really transformed a lot because, like I said, I've been sharing a whole lot less. And then I also want people to share a lot less with me. Like if it's not like work when it comes to my coaching and my students and all that, that's fine. But like just I can't like I feel like you cannot have every aspect of your life with people just like giving you too much information. Like you have to have some kind of peace, you have to have boundaries, you have to have limitations. I think we think limitations are a bad thing, but limitations can be such a beautiful thing. Like limiting what you say to others, it can be a beautiful thing. Limiting what you put in your body, limiting the places that you'll go. Limitations are not always a bad thing. It's context dependent. So what is considered oversharing depends on the relationship, naturally, with different levels of intimacy being appropriate for friends, family, or colleagues. Also, even as a woman, I feel like women tend to overshare a lot. Like I've met so many women that just will like tell you everything about their like romantic life, their kids. Like my kid has constipation issues, and I'm like, what the heck? Like I just met you. We do that, and like it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's something to really consider the impact that it'll have on other people as well, right? Comment on social media. So social media platforms are commonplace for oversharing, where users post intimate details about relationships, personal drama, or every minor event in their lives. Definitely. Oh my goodness, social media. And like as you were becoming a social entrepreneur, as you were growing, I really want you to recognize that you are birthing a dream. You are birthing a new venture. You are giving life. You are using your own life force energy and pouring it into your craft. And that is so important. And you don't even realize that sometimes even telling somebody your dream, even telling somebody what you believe your potential can be, can literally set off like envy or jealousy in them. And they might try to sabotage you. And this is actually one of the most common questions I get when I do public speaking, or like even for my students in class. It's the two most common questions I get. The one is about losing people as you become more successful as a social entrepreneur. Like people ask me, like, how do you manage losing people or like trying to take them with you and all that? And that's painful to deal with. And I honestly, I think going back to limitations, everybody doesn't need to know everything. People can know that you're starting a venture or not. You can build it in silence. I'm so fascinated by this woman. Her name is Brianna B. She says she built her business in silence for 3 years before really putting it back out there on social media. She took a 3 year social media hiatus just to build her organization. And that's so powerful. That is so powerful. It takes a lot of discipline to do that. And I've taken breaks where I take 6 months off of social media. I think I almost took a year off within the last, I think it was almost like maybe 9 months or something. And I do that periodically and it's beneficial. And then when I come back to social media, like it's fun for a while. And then I remember why, why I do those long breaks. But partly because it's also just addictive. It becomes such a habit. Um, yeah, and so it can be unintentional oversharing. People may overshare due to insecurity, a desire for attention, or simply by not considering how their information will be received. I used to do that a lot. I did not consider how it be received, but like I said, I grew up really sheltered, and I grew up in a family that loves me and really, really wants me to be, successful. And I was always encouraged, right? And what I didn't realize when I got out into the real world, like started getting older, was that everybody's not rooting for me. Everybody's not happy for me. Everybody's not going to encourage me. And they're not going to do the same thing for you either. I'm so sorry to break that news to you. But actually, I'm not sorry to break that news to you because you need to learn it. You really need to recognize that as you get older and here's the thing, when we are in our teens and 20s, we have all this potential. And even our parents, a lot of their dreams didn't come true. And maybe their dream is coming true through you. And as you start to rise, once you get into your 30s and 40s, we start to really become who we are. There's always a chance that we can become more. There is no limit to when you can transform your life and become successful. At 80 years old, you can transform. I actually had an 80-year-old student, and she was amazing. She taught me a whole lot of things, so she knew all the history. And but I had an 80-year-old student, and she decided to transform her life. She just wanted to she never went to college. She wanted to go to college. She said she's on a new era of her life. And I love that. But for the majority of people, a lot of people, by the time they get to 40 years old, a lot of people have felt a bit defeated by life. Many people. The 1% is the 1% for a reason. And you know, you can be very successful not being the 1%. That's not what I'm saying, but it's about, I think, 18% of the US population makes over 100,000. So that's 80% that doesn't, and it's really important to pay attention to how the information that you put out there and even that you say just to regular individuals will be received. And unfortunately, I had to learn that the hard way. I think most of us do learn it the hard way because we're just going through life, we're living life, we all come from a different background. And as you live, you learn. Some people in past lives and all these things, but we're doing this life right here for the first time. And it is so important that like we just recognize that we're all in different boats, we're all in different categories and different groups, and it's really important to protect ourselves and to also like be respectful of other people because we just don't want to also hurt another person's feelings unintentionally. And sometimes you might want to because sometimes people are a little too pushy and you do need to hurt their feelings. Okay. Oversharing due to insecurity, like, yeah, insecurity could be a big one as well. Low self-esteem, feeling like you have to prove yourself, maybe craving attention. Attention can be addictive. Attention can be addictive. It can be addictive. Like, I went through periods of life where I was really quiet and I didn't want attention anymore. I remember that. I remember that even when I was at NYU, I was in graduate school and I won like 7 awards in like a 2-year period, and I got really quiet. And so now as I saying this to you, I'm realizing a pattern of like the more successful when the success comes in, I start getting quiet. Um, and that's a good thing. Like, I don't regret that at all. But I did notice a lot of people would be like, why are you so quiet? Why are you like, why this? You always have something amazing to say. Why are you being quiet? And but I just had, just started learning. Like, you just see what happens, the dynamics of how people change when they learn certain kinds of information. And I'll never forget, I was studying abroad, and it was about 14 of us. And me and one of my friends, we were just having like such an amazing time, and we were meeting people, like all these great things. And like as you started to share these things, like some people became catty and jealous and all this stuff, and then I just stopped sharing with them. Then everything like ended and became peaceful. And my friend, she kept sharing with them, and I said, like, don't share, go back, don't cast your pearls before swine. Like, don't share your blessings and the good things that are happening to you with people that are miserable. Like, we're having completely different experiences than they are. And that's for a reason, part of it is their personality. But and yeah, but regardless of anything, it just like I was saying, for me, the drama ended because I once I recognized that they weren't happy for us, I just stopped sharing with them. But I guess like, maybe she wanted to like connect with them in a way, but it was actually just repelling them. Negative consequences. So oversharing can lead to a loss of privacy, damage to one's reputation, audience fatigue, and make others feel uncomfortable or awkward. Um, One thing the second question that I always get from people is how is dating or being in a relationship or married as a very successful woman? And I think one thing, as I repeat the negative consequences, I'm just thinking, I would say it's perfectly fine, but don't overshare. Once again, I think you need to protect your relationship. You have no idea the ways in which your relationship can be influenced by putting your business on social media. It's like literally so important. And I do feel like oversharing can actually be a form of self-sabotage. I feel like when we are constantly pouring out our blessings, like, you have to consider the fact that your blessings are just for you. And maybe you don't even know how to receive them fully because you are so used to oversharing, like even in your family and having to like some things are really just for you and for your own life experience and your journey. The good things and the bad things, like even oversharing the negative things. Like I used to do that also as well when I was younger, is share every little hiccup that happened. And there's certain things that you should share, but sometimes you have an issue and you just solve it on your own and then it's over. But when you tell somebody or you tell five people it, now everybody's asking you about it all the time and it's just unnecessary. It's just really, it's dramatic and there's just no need for drama because drama raises your cortisol and cortisol affects autoimmune issues. Like it affects everything in your body in a negative way if you're not careful, if you have too much chronic stress, like we have chronic stress. So it's just not worth it. It's really not. And lastly, how to stop oversharing. Let's talk about how to stop it. I think radical honesty is really important. Like I mentioned, like growing up in a very oversharing, a family that overshares, and a huge family, and a family that is very collective. I did not realize that the rest of the world wasn't like that. So understanding who you are and why you do what you do is so critically important. Like really seeing like, why am I doing this? Why am I acting like this? It's a family everywhere I go. Mind you, that's beneficial to me because every single job that I have ever had, I've been really great at community building, right? Because I come from a big community. I know how to share my resources with people. I know how to uplift other people. I know how to help and take care. I know how to just sit and be a listening ear when I need to be. I'm a really great person to have on a team because I'm good at being on a team. I'm good at like literally I get along with almost every person in my family. And it's not because I'm a people pleaser, because I'm very honest. And sometimes there's a couple of people, like I feel like there's nobody that hates me. I guess in my family. I mean, it might be one person. She's a hater, but she told me that I had her life, all this weird stuff, weird, weird, weird. But she still loves me, and we're family. We're gonna help each other. We're gonna be there for each other. And so, or at least that's what I think of in my family. So, like, that's my belief, right? But then there's also someone in my family that I never talk to, and I don't wish them any harm. I do great things for their kids. I love their kids. I love them, but I also know that our personalities are conflicting. They're direct opposite personalities, and I can love you from a distance and wish you the well from a distance, and that's okay too. But understanding who you are is critical. Self-awareness is so important in social entrepreneurship. Self-awareness is so important in life because the more you understand yourself, know thyself. The more you understand yourself, the more you understand why you do what you do, why, and then you can actually start to see why other people are doing what they're doing more clearly as well. And you can distinguish yourself from other people. Like if you're like, oh, I would never do something like that person did, like you there's a reason for that. And it's probably a reason that you're taking for granted, you know? And so I think radical honesty about yourself can actually make you love yourself more, um, flaws and all, because you can understand, you just have an understanding of who you are and why you do what you do. Owning your own trauma. Sometimes trauma can make you, if you isolate yourself after trauma, you can start to feel lonely. You might overshare with strangers and things like that because you're not feeling secure. Or if you've always been the type of person that's in a relationship, um, you might overshare just to get connection, and that can actually attract predators. A lot of times, oversharing. There's some research that I've been looking at. I think it's called Vital Mind Institute. Ooh, I have to check. I'll put it in the show notes though. But there's some research that there's a professor in Canada does, and he talks about narcissism and how oversharing, being too open, attracts narcissists. And I think when I overshared, I was attracting narcissists. And when I'm private, I don't. So I'm being more private. But like literally, you just give them a window into your world, and they always see people as a tool anyway, a means to an end. And if you're sharing all this information with them, they're takers. They're gonna take. They're gonna take the information. They'll take whatever you can give them. And so just being really careful and preserving your privacy. Now let's go into self-worth and self-respect. I think I know, when you really start to love yourself and you really start to think to yourself, like, I deserve a good life, I deserve a great life, I deserve holistic success. Like, when you really start to feel it and embody that, you're not going to want to share that much. And I think that's like what I've been saying, like, as I become more successful, I've worked so hard. I've worked so hard to become who I am. And I'm sure you have as well. And I'm sure there's so many things that you have gone through and you have overcome every one of them. And I hope that you give yourself credit for what you have overcome. And as a result of that, you deserve some privacy. You deserve some peace. You deserve some kind of success. Your success is defined by you. And so don't let society define it for you, because by society standards, we make people famous for not spending money all the time, right? And if you think about it, because there's a lot of people like the richest person in the world, it's like you're literally making these people famous for hoarding money. And I'm not saying that they're terrible human beings, but they can also give back. A lot of them are not paying their employees enough money to have a high quality of living. And yeah, so that's a whole nother topic. But just recognizing that you deserve privacy, you deserve joy, you deserve peace, self-worth. You are worthy of all the good things in this life. If you're a good person, if you're really trying to be a social entrepreneur, the most likely a legit one, not like a greenwashing social entrepreneur that's just like using it as a facade. Um, but you really want to do this work. The majority of people I've ever met that are social entrepreneurs are really kind-hearted people. They're beautiful, empathetic human beings. And so you deserve privacy. You deserve to not be sabotaged by yourself or by anyone else. And lastly, how to stop is practice. Practice, 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 practice. Um, it had to be a practice for me because I was oversharing a lot of things online. And then I just started sharing less and less and less and less. And like even as I talk to people, um, another thing I had to practice, I had to learn to practice small talk, right? So reading the newspaper so that I know what local events are happening, talking about the weather, learning to be quiet, learning to be okay with a little bit of silence. I was talking to someone the other day and I actually felt like they were like a very manipulative person. And like they just kept saying all these things and like seemed like they're trying to get information. And I said to the person, no, I just let them speak. And I was just getting quiet because like when people are fishing for information directly, and I just let them be quiet. Like I just allowed them to speak. Like I didn't try to fill the gap by proving anything to the person. And I think that is so important in life. I think it's so, so incredibly important to be okay with silence, be okay with small talk, be okay with being misunderstood, be okay with being a villain in some aspect of your life, like people thinking like you're standoffish or like you're stuck up and all these things because you don't want to engage or be too close to people. But sometimes you go through certain things in life that make you not want to be as open, or maybe for a season. Maybe it's for a season because I also know I had went through some things over the last couple of years that made me pull back and be more quiet because sometimes like I don't want to overshare on you. I don't want to trauma dump. I don't want to do those things, you know? And so that's really important as well. All right. So I hope you enjoy this topic. Um, I'm really enjoying doing these YouTube videos. I've got to say, I feel like I have this is what I need is be oversharing my knowledge and my wisdom and all this information about social entrepreneurship and the nuances with our life. One thing that just came to my mind before I wrap up, oversharing about the social good and impact you want to do because you're trying to do something great. Social entrepreneurship is amazing. And you want to share that but with the right people. So just share with the right people and but also know limitations are beneficial to life as well. All right, I'm gonna end there. Thank you for joining me once again. I love doing this, and I hope that you find value in this information that I'm sharing with you today. Like, subscribe, and share if you please. Yeah, bye.